Should all acquaintances be forgot and never brought them Should old acquaintances be forgot and all sign. Hello, listeners. 2020 is in the books, and we here at Uber Cinco would like to present our in memoriam for episodes that died last year and will never return. Therefore, they shall be forgot. Top 5 archetypes you want to interact with at a wedding? We hardly knew ye. Top 5 prepared summer meets, you know what you meant to us. Top 5 all-time Hollywood hoop starting lineup, fuck, you were great. But listeners, we're here to remind you of an ancient proverb. If it hasn't been your day, week, or month, or even your year, I'll be there for you. Guten Tag, and bienvenidos, listeners, and welcome to Uber Cinco, the podcast game show where we deep dive top 5s. I'm Brian Ernst, your host for today's festivities, and in the den is our old acquaintances, Mitch Brinkman and Nathan Hennenfent. Today, our contestants will reveal and defend their top 5 things that ruin a vacation. So let's get those vacay vibes back, baby! Woo! Woo! Oh yeah! 2021.
Brian, I already have a bone to pick with you. I'm sorry, but it's that part of me from 2020 is still here.
Well, good, because you're gonna have to deal with it in a little bit. Our first contestant is a man I once saw save a family of 4 from a burning apartment fire, lowering each man, woman, and child safely to the ground with his Rapunzel-like locks. It's Nathan Hennenfent. Happy New Year, pal.
Happy New Year, 2021. We did it.
We did it.
It almost doesn't feel real, but we did it. We made it through 2020.
And maybe it's not real. We'll have to see. And the next guest is a man who needs no introduction. And as a reminder, don't forget to stick with us until the end of the show, where I, Brian Ernst, will give you my Fast 5 send-off, where I will rattle off the definitive list of the top 5 shuttered vacation resort entertainment shows that overstayed their welcome even before the pandemic.
Hey, prick. Hey.
I'm sorry, who is this?
Hey, douche turd. This is Mitch Brinkman, the winningest contestant on Uber Cinco first 30 eps. And I just want to say thank you for having me back again. I love coming back to Uber Cinco and dominating. And New Year, it's 2021. So I'm doing new things. So this year I'm wearing scarves that are they're too big, and I'm gonna have to like constantly kind of readjust it. But it's got a great pattern on here for those of you watching at home. Of course, it's a mesmerizing square pattern for those of you listening on the audio here. But how dare you skip over me? You pronounced the word rune in your description of the episode, so I already get a bonus point for finding an error in the show.
Ruin?
So, thank you very much. You said rune. Top 5 things to ruin a vacation.
This is why you didn't need an introduction. We need to.
I'm not sure if you were referring to the French region of Rhône, where there are many great horses and grapes and wines and cheeses. But ruin, R-U-I-N, ruin. Thank you very much. Let's keep going. I'm gonna win this one today.
Aren't you the guy that says bagel?
It's runes. It's runes. These are pagan runes to put on your luggage for vacation. I hope that's the list you made, or else you're going to be very embarrassed.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I see you. I see both of you.
New year, new pricks. Here we go. Yep. And a quick message for our returning listeners. We love pleasing your ear holes and are always looking for more to fill. So please consider dropping us a review wherever you download fine podcasts, and be sure to share with your friends. And if you have a topic or Fast 5 you are dying for us to cover, head on over to bizbear.biz to submit your suggestion. Today's topic is, in fact, a suggestion from longtime listener and avid pseudonym user, Skeeter McFlanagan. Skeeter, we thank you for your service. And for you newbies, let us wake you out of hibernation with a quick rundown of the rules.
Each player in the den has spent time with today's topic, arranging their top 5 answers in order of importance. Those answers have been submitted to the host, who will moderate the game, awarding points to the player with the most poignant answer.
Starting with their number 5 choice, we will move up the ranks until we reach each of their top answers. But if both contestants happen to have the same answer on their list, well, we have an Uber stare down.
You will hear the official Uber Cinco siren, and both players must reveal their answer and what number they ranked their submission. An Uber stare down is all or nothing, with one player earning 3 points. After all answers have been read, the host will reveal the final score. All right, and as host, I am entitled to institute a house rule for today's game, which is, to the victor goes the spoils. So if you win today, you will have in fact won. Mitch, you did in fact win the pre-show trivia contest where you in fact named the top 25 dongs in adult film, longest to shortest with ease. So you will go first.
Thank you so much for that kind of soft introduction. I was looking for something a little harder on my name to match my thunder. I do want to apologize for being a jerk earlier. I love you guys. You're my favorites. I especially love you when you guys do something stupid and I look even cooler. So here we go. Number 5 on my top 5 things to ruin a vacation. And this is one that is absolutely universal and can happen to you all over the world. And that is mud butt. Okay, I'm glad you guys know what that is.
We're going there. We're starting off hot.
It's you know, it's an obvious one. There's nothing less fun than searching for a toilet away from home. I want to say this. There's a very recognized and accepted phobia that many people have of pooping out in public. Everyone's just seems they deem it normal for people to hold it all day to go home and poop. So trying to do this on vacation where you might not be fully aware of the lay of the land. Maybe you're in a horrible, desolate area where there are really no toilets. And the only ones that you do find look like, you know, like a family of rats was just murdered there by a family of raccoons who then trapped and dragged a deer in with mud butt itself, deer diarrhea everywhere itself in the restroom. And then, you know, then they killed it with a million little nips. And now you have to, you know, prance over the top of it and figure out how to clean the seat before you bring the kids for a summer break at the pool. That's one of the most uncomfortable things. And also, last year I finally got not last year, excuse me, it's 2021. 2 years ago, 2019,
hey.
I got over. Yes. I got over to Europe for the first time, also to South America for the first time, and made the mistake down in Brazil where you do not put the toilet paper in the toilet. I not only had a oh my gosh, do I want to say this on air?
I think first of all you need to explain, why does toilet paper not go in the toilet in Brazil?
Because the pipes are not fit to handle all of that volume of paper. So there's little waste baskets next to toilets you toss it in. And then also there's also bidets too, but yeah. So, but if
okay, we'll just accept that as normal and move on.
Yeah. So I had to unclog or dig out numerous toilets when I was on the trip because you just forget. And then in Europe, I had a nice little bathroom buddy in Zurich once. I of course there you have to pay to find the toilet as well. Couldn't find any public ones out when we were walking, so I had to go back to the train station, like the central part of Zurich here. Pay to get into a toilet, didn't have the right coin, so I had to go to a machine, take out money, get inside, and it's just me and one other old guy. And he, you know that old guy outfit where you're just like, that guy either spends all his days at the OTB or like searching the aisles of a grocery store for like a young ward or something. And there's like 11 urinals in a semicircle, and I choose the one on the far right, and he chooses the one right next to it. And literally, he pretends to prepare to use the restroom, never actually does it, and was just trying to peek the whole time while I'm trying to relieve myself. So that is my uncomfortable bathroom adventure from Europe. And I zipped up and I ran out of there. But if I just had an easy access to one in like a coffee shop, that wouldn't have happened. So.
That's, I mean, that might be a holdover from a German thing nearby because they use the urinal efficiently. If you go in, they line up. Whatever open urinal there is. You go in and go right next to each other. Whereas here in America, you need to have at least 4 urinal space between each person, like normal people.
Yeah.
But so maybe he just liked it.
I remember in different places in the UK where at night these magical urinal fairies would literally come up out of the streets, and they would just be like, there would be like a quadrant. There would be like 4 urinals in like a circle, and they would just be on the street, like no walls, like nothing. You could just drunk people just like, yep, you're going to piss outside no matter what. So we're just going to make it easier for you.
Is there, do you know what time in the morning that those retreat back into the sidewalk?
I'm proud to say I never had one retract on me mid urination. So
That's good. That's great.
I never pushed my limits that far.
That would be scarring. Like, you're already drunk. You're already peeing in public with no shelter. And then all of a sudden, the thing you're relying on the most just disappears from you. What if you fell into whatever little cavern that they retract into?
That'd be terrifying.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nothing. Scary.
Well, it reminded me of there's also, I went to a coffee shop with some friends in 2013. We were just like meeting up with some old friends, and they had like the public toilets in London that were like, sort of down in the underground, and you would have to pay like, I don't know, 5 or 10p to go in and do your thing. But those have fallen out of fashion for obvious reasons, because they got the above ground ones now, I guess. But so they've converted some of these public toilets into like boutique coffee shops. And it was not charming. Like, I went because I was meeting my old flatmates, and it was very nice to see them, and we had a nice time catching up. But we're sitting there, and like there's a 120-year-old like trough style urinal like right next to me as I'm trying to, have a little crumpet and a glass of water. It was not appetizing.
Do they use the troughs as like they fill it with ice and put beverages in there, or is
no?
it just...
They put like flower arrangements.
Okay.
They try.
It's funny you mention this, because I've read about that in like a food or an architecture magazine, where it was like this beautiful coffee shop with original tile from the tube in the 30s, whatever. And I was like, oh, that seems very charming. But now you say it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I will visit that when I'm over there. So
I can't recommend it. I mean, God bless them for trying to repurpose something, but it was not for me.
Yeah.
I got a lot of mud putt stories I want to throw into here, but like we got a lot of episodes to fill for 2021, so I'm going to save those and keep us on a time trail here. Nathan, can you move on to your number 5 for us, please?
All right. So one of the worst things that can happen to you on a vacation, and this is my number 5, but I've subdivided into 5 subcategories, which I'll run through very briefly.
Wow.
But this is running into friends unexpectedly. So you're on your vacation. You have a plan to relax with you, your significant other, possibly your children, other close members of your family. You have a core group of people you expect to see and nobody else. You're going to be in that little vacation bubble. And then you run into Dave and Debbie from down the road, or who you knew back in college, and they just so happen to be in the exact same as you. And you go through the like, oh, it's so exciting to see you. Yeah. And so, you make plans to have dinner, but then you realize you're going to be in the same place as them for the next 5 days. And you have to do that awkward song and dance of how much time is appropriate to spend with each other. And being, if they're from the Midwest, like we all are, then that everybody's going to feel obligated that we have to invite them to do absolutely everything together. Yep. And so there's the 5 subcategories of how this gets worse and worse. Say number 5, you meet them in a large city. Say you meet them in Rome. You bump into them in the Eternal City. There's thousands of things to do. You can say that we've already planned this, and this, but hey, we can get theater tickets here. We can go to the Coliseum together. Then we'll move on and go our separate ways. That's fine. Mm-hmm. 4th tier, the Hideaway City. So maybe you're at a weekend away in some place like Door County, Wisconsin, or Martha's Vineyard, somewhere that's more of like rustic charm. It's going to be hard to weasel out of trips to wineries or like late night boat rides or whatever, because if you come up with an excuse, you might bump into them at an apple cider stand when you told them you were heading out of town for a spa weekend and you don't want that interaction. Gets even worse. If you're number 3 is you're on an island, you're running out of physical places to hide as well as excuses. Then number 2, the all-inclusive resort. You're going to run into Dave and Debbie at the breakfast bar every day. And so to escape, you're going to have to set foot out into the third world that awaits you outside the confines of the resort. And then number 1, of course, the worst situation to run into people that you don't want to see on vacation is the cruise ship. You're going to be trapped. You're going to be quarantining with them. And despite not actually wanting to spend time together, you're going to have to feel obligated to share every meal as well as every microbe, virus, and bacteria between your two families. So the one thing you don't want to do on vacation, well, the number 5 thing you don't want to do on vacation, in my opinion, is accidentally bumped into some old friends.
Yeah.
This does ruin all of your plans or any spontaneity that would have made the vacation fun. Because I don't know about you guys, I always try to rigidly time my spontaneity to basically make sure that at least there's a couple of hours each day where there is no plan. Like just to be able to like, let's just go walk there. Let's go see if we can get a reservation at this restaurant or just walk up to some bar or whatever. Like, let's just go to a hiking trail, like whatever the vacation deems and whatever's cool about the area you're in, just to go do that. And if you run into these people, you are not getting to do any of your rigidly timed spontaneity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the vacation's supposed to be about self-indulgence and relaxation. And now you're all of a sudden beholden to thinking about what other people, you know, oh, I have to be polite to them. And if they invite me, I can't refuse them. It ruins the entire, it takes the whole, there's no more vacation. The vacation is over.
Now, here's something we can try. We can tell these people, fuck off, I'm on vacation. That is something we can do.
What?
If it's a relationship we're not too keen on keeping once we return. So we can hope that there's like maybe you can get away with this with the like fringe friends that you're just like, oh man, I happen to run into them, but they're very pushy. And then you're okay just being like, you know what? Bye.
With,
like
with the way that I was raised, both as somebody from a Midwestern Irish Catholic family, I cannot possibly do that and then not feel guilty about it for the entire rest of my entire life, much less the rest of the vacation. So as soon as I set eyes on somebody I know, the vacation is done.
I think I would be in the same boat. I'm just kind of hopefully like living vicariously through people not from the Midwest that would be able to be like, the Larry Davids out there who'd be like, no, go away. I'm on vacation. I will see you at home. Bye. Don't call me. I wish I would be able to do that.
I've actually had an experience that combines Nathan's 5 and my 5 in 1. When I was a young boy, we went to Yellowstone and we were out on the trails and I had to pee, but Yellowstone is packed during the summer. So I couldn't like step off the trail for fear of course, there's animals everywhere and there's people. So we had to hike back to the bathrooms. I had to wait in line. I ended up peeing my pants a little bit. I go to the bathroom. I come out and I've got to like tie a windbreaker in front, you know, so it's people can't see the. And then turns out one of my classmates from my like 18 kid class at St. Luke's Elementary in St. Paul, Minnesota, Brendan Blue Kelly, is standing there with his mom. And Brendan was a kid he was very, very, very brilliant, very smart. And like when he was 7, he seemed like he was 15. He was just because his mom was also like a very brilliant lawyer and treated him like an adult. And so it was like the one person I didn't want to see because it was kind of like I was intimidated by him. And then he's standing there trying to make small chat. And my parents don't really know his mom as I'm trying to cover up my giant pee stain the whole time. And,
you ain't cool unless you pee your pants.
Yeah, it was. And he knew. I'm pretty sure he knew. So, yeah, tough times.
He probably wrote a dissertation about it on his way home. All right. Mitch, why don't you continue? Move on to your number 4 here.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Do we not get points?
No, I changed the rules for 2021.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. You guys both get mud butt is something I get very, very concerned about. So
Sure.
I'm going to give you the full 3 points there, Mitch, because that is definitely up there.
Thank you.
And Nathan, I'm going to give you the full 3 points as well, just because I want to feel like I'm going to be cooler and be able to tell people to fuck off, but I'm going to do the exact same thing you do. and be in the same boat. So I should give you 1 point for how it makes me feel, how guilty I'm going to be, but 3 points for accuracy.
Thank you.
So now we will move on to number 4 for Mitchell.
Number 4 on Dr. Mudbutt's top 5 things to ruin a vacation. Number 4 is, I'm calling them substituters. And these are people, this is normally when I've been on vacation, like with friends or whatever. That's people who can't just order food off the menu as is, you know? You are in a special city or a special area, and already if you're traveling with friends or a group, it's more difficult. Of course, you guys, I'm sure, know, to get everyone on the same page for food. But it's like going to someone else's house and then not eating their cooking. It's like you didn't have to show up here, but you chose to be here. You chose to come to this location. So I say respect the process. Unless, of course, you know, obviously allergies aside, yada, 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 yada. But like when you go to like, you know, New Orleans and you're like, can I get a bowl of gumbo? But I don't really do shrimp. Can you do like chicken instead? And can you make it not spicy? And it's like, then just order something else. Don't order gumbo, motherfucker. You know, it's like when you're going someplace with the food, you order as is, or go to some chain bullshit. But when you're in the neighborhood spots, when you're in the local delicacy areas, order as is. Respect their decisions. Respect the chef. I can't stand substituters. Cannot stand it. That's my number 4. It's short and sweet, but as is, baby. Give it to me as is. I trust in you.
I think this is a great rule, even if you're not on vacation.
Yes.
This just is a blanket. This is a way I live my life. Like if I go in, I see something on the menu, I think that's what's on the menu. I do not ever feel that I have a right to tell anybody to do things differently, with the sole exception of if there's a life-threatening allergy. But then I will do everything I can to order not that thing.
Sure. Yeah. That's
true.
Or of course, if you're doing extra hot peppers or something, extra mayo, I get that. You know, if your appetites cannot be bound by the menu, but
I think asking for a side of something is completely different from this. But if you're like completely changing the dish, like they're probably making 50 gallons of gumbo at a time.
Sure.
That's going to have all the shrimp in it. It's going to have all the seasoning in it. They're not going to make a special batch just for you. Yeah. You might be able to get away with like hold the mushrooms out of a sauce or something if it's something that's being prepared completely fresh. But like completely changing what an entire dish is, you are not going to get that. Yeah. Or you shouldn't be able to get that because guess what? The customer is never right. That should be the philosophy we do live by. You are never right. Especially there's times where you can think about like a client's pitching something to you and they're like, we have $20 and we want to do a Nike commercial. And you're like, you are wrong. I am right. Go home. This is not going to work. Yeah.
Well, and there's nothing more difficult than having a group of like 5 or 6 people. You go to like the food area or the restaurant area and then no one can decide and no one will like speak up and just be like, I vote this, I vote that, or like share an opinion. And you're just like, you guys, we're just going to go for it. And then you can't complain. If you don't say anything, you can't complain later. So yeah, as is, that's
this feeds into one of my biggest pet peeves. This isn't about substituting. It's about changing your order last minute. So it's like you've gone through the process, you've ordered something, and you're like, scratch that. I want this instead. Yeah. But nothing frustrates me more when I'm the driver in a car full of people who are ordering through the drive-thru. Oh. And you pull up and you not only have to, they don't know what they want, even though it's a McDonald's and it hasn't changed, the menu hasn't changed in 30 years.
And they ask you like, Brian, are the McNuggets on sale right now? And you're like, I don't work at McDonald's. I don't know. You look at the sign.
Also, there's 2 signs. There's the pre-sign that shows you things before you get up to the window so you can make your decision. Or 2, there's people that want to then converse their order to you that then you have to repeat. And I'm like, it's right there. Just yell it louder. Like I do not have to be a conduit for your nugget order. I will roll down all the windows. When I am done speaking, you speak. Order. Person in the back. Order. You order. And then we will move on with our lives. But I've been in situations where that has happened and then an order has been completed and then the person in the back has then decided, no, I don't want that anymore. And I'm like, It's over. The transaction is over. You will get what you get, or I will kick you out of this vehicle. Let's move on.
I also can't handle the send it back people. Because if I'm with, like, one of my philosophies in a lot of areas of life is a lottery. Be lucky. You go to a restaurant, you order something, it sucks. Well, that's how your day went. Today sucked. Sorry. Then if somebody I'm with sends food back, I am immediately terrified for the people in the kitchen know which table this is going to. So I am just as much at risk for having whatever bodily fluid they want to put on my hamburger. I'm now fair game. So I don't send things back. I don't substitute. Mitch, I'm with you all the way on this.
This is where go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say this: if you go to some place like you guys know me, I love to eat. I love finding the best food in whatever city I'm in. If you go to a place that has a bunch of different specialties and you want to try multiple things, this is one of my favorite ordering tricks, and it's fun for the waiter and waitress. I believe this is what normally they smile. Normally they're like, okay, they have a knowing smile.
That's because they're dead inside. But continue.
Yeah. It's a knowing smile, and of course, tip them extra. But you give them two things. You say, I would like the shrimp po' boy, or the crawfish gumbo. You choose. Make it a surprise, please. And they go, oh, all right, yeah. And then they might say something like, "Are you cool with spice or any allergies?" And you're like, "As is, whatever. Bring, I'm happy to eat." That is because then you get a little surprise, and then also they have a little more ownership over the process as well. So,
and then when Mitch doesn't get what he wants, he sends it back. Nathan, your number 4, please.
Yeah, my number 4 most devastating ruination of a vacation is forgetting that one item of vacation garb that you had bought specifically for the trip. You don't realize it until you're at the hotel, maybe the second or third hotel, because you've had to stay overnight somewhere driving, but you finally get to your final destination and you unpack everything and you look through all your suitcases, all your luggage multiple times, it's not there. For instance, perhaps I had wanted to buy these Rolling Stone swimming trunks, which I'm holding up now for viewers on YouTube, which features a picture of Mick and Keith sharing a microphone right about at crotch level, and then a nice portrait of all the gentlemen in their senior years. See, I bought these for to go to the Rolling Stones concert that was canceled due to the pandemic. But haven't you bought something for a trip before, and then you go through that heartbreak? You just like, oh man, this little safari hat, this is just really gonna do it, or these pair of sunglasses, and then you get there and then it's gone, and then you look in gift shops or whatever to get something that's gonna fill the void, but it's never the same because you ordered this off of Pinterest or Etsy or Redbubble. It was from a custom artist that had to put a lot of an independent artist that put a lot of craft and care into making this for you. You had to pay like double the price of the actual item in shipping to get it to you, and you forgot it at home. The whole trip is going to have a stain on it. You're going to look at pictures 10 years later. You're going to look at pictures from this trip, and you're going to think, God, I would have looked so much better if I would have had that safari hat or these wonderful Rolling Stone swimming trunks. So that's my number 4.
I don't think for me it's a custom piece of artwork thing. It's usually like, oh man, I forgot my good underwear at home. that's usually what it's for me. It's like, everyone has like your fancy pair. These are the pair no matter what situation you're going to be in, they're going to be comfortable. Yep. And then you have the other pairs. Those are the pair you wear while you're in between loads, or you haven't gotten up on laundry, whatever. No, laundry loads, folks. Laundry loads. Loads of laundry. God damn, get your minds out of the gutter.
There's so many jokes I want to make, but I'm not going to do it.
You're in between laundry loads, and you got the shit pair that you don't want to wear. They don't stretch right. They ride funny. And then, of course, you get on vacation, and that's all you have are those pairs now for 4 days abroad. And it's the worst. But So I guess I feel your pain because I have a lot of load issues.
I mean, the worst parts of vacation, it's always in between loads. Those are the worst parts. But I totally agree with you here because I think that it didn't make it on my list because I didn't think it fit as well. But one of my favorite things about vacation is having that one item. Either it's a great pair of shoes that is like super comfortable or like a really nice jacket or a nice shirt where you just always know this is going to look good because you're on vacation. You know, you're not seeing the same people every day. So you could wear the same thing every day if you wanted to, you know, putting your best foot forward when you're out there exploring the world. So I wholeheartedly agree with this. My number one travel tip for when you're going on a vacation, you're going to be doing a lot of walking in a city, anywhere in the world. This works. A glide stick. You pop that in between your thighs. Your thighs are up together, and keeps that chafing down. Whoo! That's a pro travel tip from Dr. Mud D Butt that you're welcome.
These are my long bike shorts that I can't go on a very long walking vacation without. So those are the ones that are like the built-in glide stick.
Sure.
The ones that you know when you put them on, you can only wear them once because they're going to reek after that day. You got to save them for the day that you know is going to be the most chafe prone heavy.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes you spend them too early. And then you got to decide, do I put on the smelly pair to protect the chafing or do I try and find a place that's got a glide stick? So, I mean...
Or you could also hand wash. You could hand wash in the sink at your hotel.
I'm sorry, what is that? What is that?
This isn't the 1600s, Mitch. We're on vacation here.
I'm sorry I don't have a washboard in a river nearby. Ugh. All
right, fine. I will drop you one more pro travel tip straight from Carl C. Mudbutt III. And that is throw those stinky things right in a microwave. Minute and a half, all the germs are gone. They are back to being clean again. So you're welcome.
You microwave your underwear?
You could. You absolutely could. Yes.
You could. That's the point. Is you could.
That's just a moment. I can imagine like the 90 seconds of me standing there microwaving my underwear. That's too much time for me to sit there and think, God, this is really what my life has come to. I'm actually microwaving my underwear.
Well, if you have a beautiful pair of underwear that prevents chafing and you need it to survive, then that's a pro travel tip. You know, it's something you could do. So.
All right.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. We'll make sure to put these all on our blog so people can have these travel tips for them on a moment's whim.
Yep.
Nathan, I am going to give you 2 points for this round because I feel like underwear is more important than a commercial tee. Mitch, I will give you 3 points because you know how much substituters upset me. So moving on to our number threes, let's stick with Nathan this time for number 3.
Yeah, this is pretty simple, straightforward one. It's if you or any member of your traveling party gets sick.
Yep.
It's I remember getting very sick. I was probably 13 on a vacation with my family, and I was in bed for about 2 or 3 days, and so they had to cancel a bunch of plans. I know they weren't having fun with it either. Yeah. I mean, I certainly wasn't having fun. I do remember that this was the first time I saw the Tom Green show on MTV, and I was 12 or 13, so I thought this was just comedy genius. So that fit. But
did you watch the Tom Green show between loads, or was this just like you had it on 24 hours a day kind of thing?
It was on like in 4-hour blocks. I would say.
Okay, cool.
So there was probably 2 or 3 trips to the bathroom for every full episode of Tom Green. And that was just reacting to the disgusting stunts. That wasn't due to any illness.
Yep.
I can't think of any other instances where I got sick on vacation, but I know I ruined it. Well, the illness ruined it for just not myself, but for the family. But I have 2 other instances where I got sick at an untimely moment, which was my 28th birthday. I had a bunch of people like my cousin and his wife and my sister and brother-in-law. They all came into the city, and I had a bunch of people ready. We were going to go to one of the arcade bars here in Chicago. Started the day off with breakfast. I'm sitting at breakfast at a diner around the corner from my apartment, and all of a sudden I realize something is not right. Sure enough, I had the stomach flu, so I spent the next 24 hours in my apartment throwing up while everybody else went to my birthday party. So that was a shitty birthday. and then this, we're coming off of the holiday season of 2020, pandemic style. It was very awkward I had to be isolated from my family. And as you know, we all had very unconventional looking holiday seasons this year. But I kept reminding myself, December 20th, 2006, my girlfriend broke up with me. And then Christmas morning, I woke up again with the stomach flu and spent that whole Christmas throwing up. And I kept thinking about that very fondly this year to remind myself that 2020 was not the worst Christmas ever, because that was. So it wasn't vacation, but it was a holiday. So I've had some instances where the unexpected illness comes along, something you've been looking forward to for a long time is just at the last minute taken away from you. And you don't just have the mental anguish of thinking, what could have been. You also have the physical anguish of the illness. So worst timing in the world is to be sick on vacation.
So you're the one that ruins these trips for everyone.
It was one trip. To be fair, I think everybody had a great time at my birthday party except for me.
Yeah.
Well,
I know I did.
From what I hear, I'm pretty sure you were there, weren't you, Mitch?
Oh yeah, I for sure was. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Well, and Nathan, that's why you don't send food back at the diner. I mean, you're just stepping in it right now. So
I remember I think I had eaten some cantaloupe. That was all the farther I'd gotten into that adventure before things went downhill.
Well, that's just one step above honeydew. So yeah, cantaloupe blows.
I'm not touching honeydew with a 40-foot pole. Fuck that shit.
That's what I'm saying. It's one step above. I mean,
wow.
Give me some pineapple at least out of a can where the botulism's been squashed. That's what I need. Mitch, your number 3, please.
Oh yeah. So number 3 on Rufus T. Mudbutt, the director of Flatulative of Arts at BMU. Is Overpriced Drinks. If you are on a vacation, if you're spending $7 to $8 on a Crispy Boy, your Miller Lights, your Bud Lights, your Coors, whatever, you're in the wrong place. And if your drink tab is exorbitant on like an inverse cost to quality per unit basis, you're doing something very wrong. So either you're spending too much time in casinos while not gambling, because if you're gambling, you're getting your drinks free, or you're at Disney World and it is now the time to leave. And if you're not at either of those two places, well, then you're at some shitty corporate chain bar, most likely located in the heart of a tourist trap section of whatever locale you're at. And again, get out. And the best way to find the nearest escape hatch, of course, is you talk to the industry folks. You talk to the service people. You talk to folks around. Find out where the good spots are nearby. Find out where the real people drink after work. Find out where
the true alcoholics. The true alcoholics.
I mean, if this is part of your vacation, and it may not be, then this is a must, an absolute must. And of course, doing research beforehand always helps. Trying to get a lay of the land a little bit before, so you're not just going to what's like a Fleming's Steakhouse or a I don't know, Maggiano's or whatever, or something that you can find anywhere. And then also when you talk to the locals, when you figure out where the locals drink, where the locals eat, you might make a goddamn friend out of it, and it's even better. And then it's not someone you feel obligated to see because you know them from back at home. You want to hang out with them because they're a cool new person. You can find out some stuff about them, and who knows, that little snake trail might lead to a grand adventure later on that night. So that is my number 3. Overpriced drinks. Don't do it. And I will say there's one. I know, Brian, because I know you're going to have some casino comments here. Probably Nathan too. But the only overpriced drink I will do in a casino is a full yard of margarita, or when I'm on Fremont Street in Vegas, which I've only been twice, is a plastic football full of whiskey ginger, and that's it. But if you're overspending on your drinks, go to someplace else. So
I think that's fine. I mean, if you're looking for a drink that's supposed to last you a long time while you're out walking, I think that's fair game to go buy a giant beer or a yard of marg. I think that's totally fair. You should be able to splurge on a couple of drinks on wherever you are. But it's when they get out of control that it's the problem. I remember I ran into this locally here where we had a graduation party at a Buca de Beppo and we ordered a glass of Seven Daughters wine. It was a sparkling kind of Moscato, and it was supposed to be just whatever, a very girly kind of sugary beverage, but they made it their top Moscato. That's what they were marketing it as. And they were charging like $9 a glass for this thing. And we found the bottle the next day at a Binny's for $11.
Oof.
Yeah.
So they're charging $9 a glass for an $11 bottle, making crazy profits on it. And I'm like, all right, this is local. Now imagine if we were actually in a real tourist trap, what this inflation would be on a stupid glass of wine. So
I think this brings us to a vacation pro tip, which I'm surprised you haven't mentioned, is just invest in a flask.
There we go. Boom.
But it's got to be one of those novelty flasks that holds like a gallon.
Or you could do like a Camelback, like that marathon runners will sometimes wear.
Sure.
Just to mainline some whiskey straight into you.
I was going to say, I'm sure that won't get caught at all walking into a casino with a Camelback of whiskey.
Well, not necessarily for a casino, but I also would heartily recommend if you're going to a casino to stay relatively sober. For obvious financial implications, because the expensive drinks aren't going to be where you lose your money. It's going to be the effect of being loose with your money after you've had a few drinks.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah,
that is correct.
Flasks are really where the alcoholics drink, not local dive bars.
Near your local flask.
So I also want to mention there was a gentleman I went to high school with. I shouldn't say gentleman. A scruffy bad boy who got thrown out of the St. Paul XL Energy Center where the Minnesota Wild play hockey. It was during a high school hockey tournament. He put on a Camelback and then I went to a military high school, Class A dress military uniform over the top, and had the hose coming out his coat collar, and drank like a whole backpack full of whiskey, and then got into a fight with like a 50-year-old and got thrown out of the XL Energy Center. So be careful. Moderation is key.
So be careful when drinking a gallon of whiskey from your secret backpack.
When covertly strapping alcohol to your bare skin, please exercise caution. You just use good judgment if you're going to do that.
Yeah. Use good judgment.
Come on.
So,
I think, Nathan, that brings us to your number 3.
No, I did my number 3.
No, you did your number 3. Oh yeah, your number 3 was the getting sick. So Mitchell, I'm gonna go ahead and I think only 2 points for overpriced drinks because that's expected when you're traveling. And Nathan, for ruining everyone's vacation,
hold on.
I'm gonna give you 2 points.
Why is it expected?
Because that's the way life is. It's unfair.
No, that's not. That is not a good reason. That is not a good reason.
I didn't say it's a good reason. I'm saying it's the way it is. Okay,
no, that's bullshit. Baloney. Bullshit. Give me 1 point. I don't even want your 2 points for that lame cop out you just gave me.
Mitch's 2 points will go down to 1 because he asked for it.
Great. Guess
Moving on to number 2 for Nathan.
I will still fucking win. Sorry, excuse me for cussing, but let's go. Thank you very much.
All right, so fuck you, Mitch. Nathan, number 2.
My number 2. Now, believe it or not, I have not actually experienced this firsthand, but I have witnessed it amongst a number of my close friends. And this is realizing that the trip is turning into a breakup.
Oh,
and this is often prominent in long distance relationships and I've seen this multiple times. I won't name names, but a few different people that I knew, they were in long distance relationships. And then they were very excited to me and said, "Oh, I'm going on this trip and I'm taking so-and-so. And it's going to be great because, we've been together for 6 months or a year and we haven't really spent that much quality time together. And now we're going to go and we're going to get to have a week to ourselves." And the first time I heard that, I thought that was great. And then like the other 3 or 4 examples that come to mind in my head, I remember the second, third, fourth, and fifth ones that told me this. I thought, oh boy, it's over. Because what happened the first time and then what has happened every other time is you see this person just once in a blue moon, and the honeymoon phase can kind of be extended. And then you go and you just have them in your face right there the entire time. And after about 2 days, they started to get sick of each other, or one person got sick of the other one. And then by the end of the trip, it's game over, buddy. It's all over. And that's the death knell. I if you're going to do the long distance relationship, and I have been in many failed long distance relationships, the key is to start spending significant amounts of time together sooner rather than one big trip with all the pressure. Obviously, this can happen in a non-long distance scenario. This can happen in any relationship where just the overexposure starts to bring some issues that had been down, hiding below the surface are going to start to come up. 5 or 6 days of isolation, and what was supposed to be a really beautiful romantic getaway just turns out you weren't right for each other. And that's the tragic end. And so the vacation, you try to hang on to those memories of walking across the Grand Canyon or Niagara Falls, or taking a nice cruise out in Hawaii, whatever it is. You try to hang on to the good memories, but you'll always know that was the breakup.
Yeah.
I think it was someone asked Bill Murray once for relationship advice, and he said, take the person you like, travel around the world for months at a time, come back. If you still like each other, get married. So that is just spend a ton of time together and see what happens. So I think that is a very true sentiment.
Well, that, this may ruin a vacation, but it probably saved a couple lives too,
This is true.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. I was party to this, or I watched it happen close up. Traveled with someone to another state to visit and have like a long weekend. And their girlfriend had been trying to break up with them, but it wasn't doing a good job of it. Or I don't know all.
Well,
if
they're still together, yeah, they were. She was not succeeding up until that point.
Yeah, and had been sleeping with another person, or maybe other people. I don't know, but she didn't think the relationship was still going. First night, we go, all 3 of us, and then other additional friends of hers go to a bar. And one of her friends tells the guy, hey, by the way, she's fucking someone else. And the breakup happens right there on the front sidewalk. And it was like a 10-hour drive to get there. And this guy was like, let's go right now. Let's go back we need to leave right now. And I had 2 beers in my hand. And I was like, we can't. I was like, we're drunk. I was like, we can't leave.
And Mitch is like, plus you're my ride.
And so we couldn't leave right then and there. But then so we had to stay the night at least, so everyone could sober up. But then it he got over it maybe or something. I don't know. Because we didn't leave the next day either. We stayed the entire time. And they spent a lot of time alone. And I don't know if they're trying to repair their relationship behind closed doors or what. But it was also the girlfriend's birthday. And he brought her, back in the days when iPods were huge, brought an iPod that he preloaded with all of her favorite music, and gifted that to her. And I think it hung on for another 2 weeks. Yeah. Before it finally coughed its last breath. But
2 weeks is worth about a $400 electronic. That seems about a good ratio.
But man, never have I ever felt so guilty or uncomfortable all at once. And if I was a better friend at the time, I probably would have been like, you're right, let's do it. And just Stone Cold Steve Austin the beers and just stole a car and got us back to Chicago.
Stole a car.
But that didn't happen. So,
Oh, man.
difficult as hell though. And it did definitely ruin the trip. It was awkward the entire time. So
that'll do it.
Yep. Even I was awkward. I was awkward. I feel like if,
And I feel like that's a situation you would thrive in.
Right?
As a spectator.
Right? Yeah. So
All right. Well, take us on to your number 2 there, Mitch.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So number 2 on Major General Thurston F. Mudbutts, top 5 things to ruin a vacation. And this is deer in the headlights travelers, I'm calling them. They ask questions like, what, not everything is in English? Where are we? Where are the TVs? I just can't sit here and post pics to Instagram. This is the traveler who expects other people to do everything for them in the party. They didn't research anything before coming to this location. They are merely a hungry, sad puppy following along. I've been on like ski trips before where it was like I've like planned all the outings, did all the cooking, and they just sat there and was like, didn't say thank you, whatever. Those kind of things ruins a vacation for other people who are there to experience and to put their best effort forward. And then also, of course, there's just like that xenophobia thing too, where like you just expect people in different countries to change to your way of life is just awful. Like just figure out things like, does the toilet paper go in the toilet? That's an important thing to do. Do you have to tip? A lot of other countries, you don't have to tip. It's included. And actually tipping is actually kind of like an insult. And just like basic things like that, I'm trying to think of other local customs that you do, but like understanding that it's not going to be the same as America. I mean, really it's these are mainly ugly Americans. I feel like that do this, but again, it's all about trying to understand the local flavor before you get there. Trying to find maybe like a local block club style blog or something. Or even if you're going overboard, if this is like your once in a lifetime trip, this is the one time you're going to Italy or whatever it is, and you're blowing it out, order like a local paper like in advance or something. Like get a real taste of the local flavor before you go. Don't show up blind. Don't show up unresearched. Don't be that deer in the headlights on vacation, because it's a freaking workload for other people who prepped to have as good a time as possible. So, and actually, yeah, I was gonna say one more thing, but that's my number 1, so I'm gonna leave it. So,
your number 2.
Oh no, I was gonna mention something about, but that coincides with my number 1. Well, so yeah,
I've been in a party to this deer in headlights before. Mm-hmm. It was technically on a business trip. It was me and my boss. We were in Finland at the time. And we went out to eat at a local restaurant. The waitress, she spoke English. She was very, very nice. She was helping us out pronouncing Finnish words on the menu and helping us translate. She was being very, very helpful. Mm-hmm. And he decided at the end to tip. She brought the envelope back and was just like, no, you don't need to do this here. Also, we don't accept American currency, because he tipped her with a $20 bill. And it was a very generous tip, but she was also like, no, I was like, 1, you don't have to. Very nice. But I also can't do anything with this. And he insisted. He put it back in the envelope and said, no, take it to a bank. They'll exchange it for you. Don't worry about it. Thank you so much.
So he gave her an errand to run.
He gave her an errand. And it was just super uncomfortable for me, because I'm just sitting there like, well, thank you for buying. But 2, can we leave now?
Yeah.
Like, I want to go.
Did this person order at least as is, or did they do a couple subs?
I can't even remember, because the end of this meal has ruined every memory of what happened before it. It was just like, he just insisted and then gave her an errand. And it was the weirdest thing to be a party to.
Also, why? If they tell you don't put any more money in, you're like, I want to put more of my money in. You're like, you don't need to or have to. Stop. Why not?
I know. Stop? It's like asking somebody to retract a point in Uber Cinco. It makes no sense.
That was principle. That was real principle, and that's not giving you an extra errand. So.
I do have a very clear memory of some American tourists. I remember specifically what day this was. This was the day that Sir Alex Ferguson's, the news of his retirement as manager of Manchester United came to light, because I wasn't planning on watching the United game, but then that news broke. So I went to the nearest pub I was in, and I got a seat, and it happened to be right off of Leicester Square. So high tourist area. And this American family, fresh off the plane, is at the table next to me, and I hear them order nachos. They ordered nachos in a British pub, in a touristy British pub, and they order nachos. And I just lean over to them and I said, "You guys are from America, right?" And obviously, I have an American accent. They're like, "Yeah." And I said, "You ordered nachos?" And like, "Yeah." And I was like, "You don't want to do that." And they were like, "Really?" I was like, "Absolutely not. Just don't. Just please don't." And so they didn't. And then, but then the next American family on the other side of them did, and they were outside of my sphere of influence.
Too much.
So they happened. And then the American family A looked over at American family B and saw those nachos, or those sort of tortilla chips with some cement poured over them. And they turned back and looked at me and were like, "Oh, thank you so much." And I thought, God, I am such a great guy.
Were they just boiled tortilla chips with beans on them?
They were just,
I figure.
they were horrible. I mean, the only reason I knew not to order nachos was because I did, of course, like the first week I was in England at one point too, but I learned quickly.
Also, try some of these British nachos I've been hearing about.
What, Mitch? What was the worst thing that happened to you when you flushed some toilet paper in Brazil? This has been killing me all episode.
I had to go out. It was at it was at my friend Robert Smith's like pre-wedding party at his wife Roberta's parents' house. And they had this beautiful like outdoor pool, patio area, grilling area. And too much toilet paper clogged the only toilet that they were like, "Hey, this one should be for twos and this is for ones." I had to go out to the grilling area, get a grilled cheese skewer, eat the cheese off, and then go in with the skewer and dig it out and unclog the toilet secretly. And that's what I had to do. But if I hadn't done that, then that party of 40 people eating cheese would have been a problem. So, yeah. This
was at their home. This was not in public. This was at their home, beautiful home that they had welcomed you into.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And
they just throw away these sacks of shit paper?
Well, the trash cans have nice like lids on it, so it tries to keep like, the smell in. But I'm trying to remember. I think they did have separate trash cans for the poop, but I don't remember exactly. So it's
I suddenly don't really want to go to Brazil anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard pass.
I mean
a hard pass.
Yeah.
That sounds like that was Mitch's exact problem when he got down there. One too many hard passes.
And the restroom was like right on the patio, so it wasn't like tucked away anywhere. So I had to like be like, I'm just bringing
hear
this.
You struggling and sweating with this poker.
And but my body was too big, not like I couldn't close the little door because there was like 2 stalls in a bathroom with like a communal sink area it was too big to close the door and like get it. So I had to like do it quickly too when no one else was in there. It was very nerve wracking. So, but no one else knew about that till right now. So,
and now the millions and millions of Uber Cinco listeners will know.
Yep.
Oh man.
So.
Yeah. Also,
tens of people are going to be disappointed in you.
I'm just amazed to have it come to light that Ronaldinho's lifelong pooping routine has been so much different than my own. Who knew?
I mean, I feel like there's nothing better than mud butt to bring us to our number ones.
Yep.
So we are rounding out the mud butt to bring us to number ones. Let's go with Nathan. What is your number one thing that ruins a vacation?
Work guilt / dread.
Ooh, yep.
So this can manifest in a few different ways. It can be if the people from work are calling you, which should be a big no-no. I remember getting so angry when we'd be on vacation as a kid, and this is pre-cell phone era. And the front desk, we would come back from doing whatever we were doing, wherever we were at, and the front desk would say, "Oh, George, people called," and my dad would have to like go to like a pay phone or the from the room phone or wherever to get in touch with people at work. Complete nonsense. People are on vacation. Let them be on vacation. But then the other big mistake that you can do is when you plan your vacation out, you want to give yourself that buffer zone at the end, at the tail end. You want to give yourself 24 to 72 hours to get home, to unpack, to relax at home, to then be anxious and sick about going back to work in the comfort of your own home. Because if you put it off and you don't want to spend those last 2 days in the Bahamas or in Greece or wherever it is that your trip of your dreams took you to. You don't want the last 48 hours to be ruined by just thinking, all right, I'm going to get off the plane and I got to go back into work mode. I know that this dragon to slay is waiting for me. I've got this account that I need to catch up on. I'm going to be so behind. I feel guilty for having fun. I'm not going to be pleasure to be around with my travel companions now because I'm stressing out. This defeats the entire purpose of the vacation. So you got to give yourself that buffer zone. And then if you're having a great time and you think that's not going to be a problem, no crisis has happened at work, you can extend the vacation by another day. You get a bonus day and it's going to be even sweeter. So that buffer zone is key. That's my number one pro travel tip. And my number one thing that can ruin a vacation is the work, guilt, dread, anxiety.
I've experienced this, and it's where it's gotten to the point now where I go on vacation, I delete mail apps off of my phone. So if I have the Gmail app or whatever, if I will get out of my work email and then I will physically delete the full app off my phone. There's no way a notification will sneak through or anything. I will log off, delete, it is gone. Pretend I am in the mountains fighting a bear with no cell service anywhere. This is how remote I would like for you to think I am, even if I am staying home and watching Mission Impossibles. That's what I want you to think. Okay. And I think the older I have gotten, the more important this buffer day has become, because it's just like, all right, I'm more excited to take a Wednesday, a Thursday, Friday off than just having the longer weekend. Like I'll waste an extra vacation day. So I have a Thursday, Friday to make sure that I'm vacationing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I have Sunday to recoup before going back in. And I would rather take a lot of those extended weekends instead of long vacations, because then I can have multiple trips throughout the year, even if they're short getaways. I think that is better for resting and coming back. The
last big vacation I took, 2018, when I went to Panama, I literally just quit my fucking job before I went because I didn't want to deal with that shit anymore. So I had no anxiety because I knew, I was like, well, I come back, I'm going to be broke as hell, but at least I know I'm not going back to work as soon as I get off the plane. And it was a great vacation. So I would recommend that. I would recommend, first of all, if your job is giving you that much anxiety, just quit and leave the country for a while. It worked out for me. What could possibly go wrong for you? And then also you can just fake your own death. Just fake your own death. Yeah. Go on vacation and then come back. Then it's be like, hey, no, I was alive. And they'll be like, oh, but I'm like, hey, you guys aren't excited that I'm still alive. And then they will be guilted into welcome you back with open arms. Just avoid the work anxiety on vacation. The whole reason you're taking a vacation is to get away from work. Don't take it with you mentally or otherwise.
Yes.
Wow.
Mitch, you're number one. You got a top work anxiety.
Yeah. So this is actually my number one actually is sort of like that exactly a little bit. It's, it's about like living in the moment, it's not about looking forward or behind. It's about being right where you are and experiencing what's around you in that moment and not worrying about what's to come. And so number one on Lady Charlotte Mudbutt of Hershey upon Tush, things that can ruin your vacation, I'm calling dressage neck. And that is, horses are magical, wonderful creatures. We all know this, but they're forced into a sport. Although stunning to watch on television and transformative to witness in person. And this is dressage. Now in dressage, they make horses' hair. It's very pretty. So, but then through the bit and rein work of the rider, the horses complete a predetermined set of movements from memory, all while their necks are craned down and their eyes glued to the floor. So like the horses, humans, if you're getting pretty, putting on nice clothes, doing your hair, getting that updo just so, and then going out in the world and looking down at your phone the whole time as you walk around places, this is what I'm talking about. And you should not be doing this because this ruins a vacation. Because when this happens, you have hordes of slow-moving tourists that, in my opinion, can be truly agonizing. So much like it's like the fourth level of the dressage judging pyramid, impulsion or schwung in the native German tongue, and is deeply important as this is the thrust of your gait. So when you're looking down at your phone, you don't have that schwung, you don't have that speed, you don't have that go get 'emness, you know. And you need to generate, of course, just like the horses, generate your schwung in your hindquarters. Now, to achieve maximum schwung, you must be relaxed. It's imperative. You must know where you are, or you must know where you're going. Again, as I mentioned earlier, research before helps. And lastly, you must have Durchlässigkeit. Excuse me, let me say it one more time. You must have Durchlässigkeit, or throughness. And this is the interconnectedness of your musculature. Ideally, it should be supple, elastic, and unblocked. This is the fifth level of the dressage pyramid. In short, for you humans, stretch. Prepare yourself for vacay. Don't go from being a sedentary couch potato to walking 8 miles a day, climbing hills in Rome or San Francisco. And please don't walk Los Angeles completely. It won't work. Drive from neighborhood to neighborhood. And you'll thank you profusely when you're on, your third straight 7-hour walking day. And this can ruin a vacation, obviously, too, dressage, Nick, because people are looking down. They're not looking up. They're not experiencing the nature. They're not experiencing the architecture. They're not seeing the crazy guy on the corner. He's not asking for money. He's asking for alien globules, and and he's doing a wonderful, wonderful dissertation on the power of alien technology and how it's infected Russian leaders' brains, and thus now the American president's brain or something like that. You're missing these crazy people. You're missing the obstacles that might be in front of you as well as you walk. If you have dressage neck, you're looking down. You might be missing little scallywag pickpockets who are there to take your shit as well. Watch out for those. But honestly, the best part about vacation, in my opinion, is the people watching. You get to learn about other cultures by being on street level, walking around, putting your foot in front of another, achieving that beautiful schwung, moving forward effortlessly, and experiencing right then and there the moment you are in, the city you are in, the nature you are in. That is my number one.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Schwung.
Schwung.
I'm gonna
Schwung.
that word is now in my vernacular.
Schwung.
I'm gonna be saying
Yes.
schwung way too often to the point
Yep.
where it's gonna get annoying, but I love
Yep.
that. Thank you, Mitch.
Schwung.
I have nothing to add to schwung because schwung is as well spoken as it was. Everyone understands the schwung. And to round out our number ones here, I'm going to give 3 points to Nathan and 3 points to Mitchell
Thank you.
for such a great number one here.
Thank you.
And that brings us to a tie at 13. Mitch, you would have won if you didn't retract the point. Now you have to take a win. So that's where we're ending that for today.
Can I have you guys participate in a Hennenfent vacation family ritual real fast before we go?
Sure.
So this was the vacation pledge that my dad would make us take before every vacation as we were getting in the car and pulling out of the driveway. So can I have you guys raise your right hands?
Yep.
Yes.
I promise
I promise.
to have fun
To have fun.
To have fun.
no matter what.
No matter
No
what.
matter what.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I'm going to work that into my life.
Yeah.
All right. And we can't leave today without listening to, of course, my Fast Five. Now, from Cirque du Soleil's Zumanity on the Las Vegas Strip to Wisconsin Dells' Tommy Bartlett Show, the pandemic has sure taken its toll on beloved tourist attractions. So here are some other shuttered vacation resort entertainment shows that have overstayed their welcome even before the pandemic. Number 5, the Museum of White Superiority in Williamstown, Kentucky. Based off of pretty much every textbook used in the American school system, the Museum of White Superiority was dedicated to those behind the whitewashing of history. Interactive exhibits such as the Great Hall of Plantation Owners and the IMAX film Jesus Calls It Corn, Not Maize were popular amongst perennial guests. but their no masks allowed policy killed all their employees and annual pass holders. Number 4. Lake Monroe's preschooler tubing camp near Bloomington, Indiana. That's right, inflatable tubes attached to motorized watercraft, but for toddlers. This southern Indiana staple is a favorite amongst locals that teach their children that life has ups and downs by literally launching their children from strapless tubes pre-dipped in butter. When kids would return to shore with broken limbs crying for their mommies and daddies, the parental units would give them another lesson in growing up Hoosier. You ain't getting no handouts. You're a Republican. Remember that. Now vote against your own self-interests and go ride again. Number 3. Slippin' Monty's Magic Shack, Baraboo, Wisconsin. 3 generations of Midwesterners have had their own tales of visiting Slippin' Monty's Magic Shack. It has the largest indoor theater in Sauk County where Monty would make his assistants disappear, change their dresses with a flick of his cape, and even saw them in half. The attraction is closed permanently as the pandemic affected Monty's entire workforce. The magic was gone when he had to lay off his custodial staff, allowing authorities to finally get close enough to the production, discovering his graveyard of dismembered women. 400 cold cases have been solved so far.
Jesus.
Number 2. The off-Broadway production of Dr. Seuss's Erotic Tales. Based on the shelved manuscripts of Theodore Geisel's secret writings, the full Muppet production of Erotic Tales featured furry creatures with a certain wind in their sails. Massive, thick, penile appendages, covered in bandages, caused ticket overages and a confused public to curse them out in several languages. Number 1. Merv Isles Cabana Lounge, Fremont Street, Las Vegas. Merv is an old Vegas staple. He's had the longest running residency in existence, playing to audience since '64. Merv Isle might as well be in yesteryear, as his singing act features interstitial vignettes of audience interaction where Merv complains to his stage companion and real-life 25-year-old wife dinner isn't ready when he gets home from performing. The jokes turn more dire as the show goes on, especially when Merv closes the show with his encore number, "The back of my hand makes my deals for me." Rated the most misogynistic show ever by Good Housekeeping 51 years running, it's a shame that the show didn't close sooner. And that's this week's edition of Uber Cinco.
That was dark.
From the quaint from the quaint Sopico district of Chicago's North Side has been
Mitch Brinkman.
And from the throes of Old Irving Park has been
Nathan Hennenfent.
And I have been Brian Ernst. And as Biz Bear always says, make sure you write Biz Bear advice before ending the show. Auf Wiedersehen and adios. You've just listened to Uber Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBK Studios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.